Granny Bran left her mission agency and went up to the mountains and continued to serve God. She rode on her donkey over every mountain. There were many, many mountains. She wanted to reach the mountains for Jesus. She loved Jesus. She loved the people. And you could see the passion in her heart. But one day, as she was riding up the mountains, she tumbled. I think I heard something. I think I really heard something this time. I have many times I've fallen, but this looks serious. I don't think I can get up. I don't think I can get up. Be careful. She woke up. She was still alive, and they took her in a stretcher, and they carried her to rest in a better place so they could give her time to recover. And she indeed had time to recover. She had time to pray. She had time to rest a bit from all her weary labors. But soon she said, I'm ready to go again. So she picked up her bamboo. And she said, I gotta go. There's still many souls to be saved. And she went daily to save the many people in those mountains. And for 25 more years, she served there. After she left the mission, she was independently up there. She died at age 95 or so. 95, serving up in the mountains there. What about the second generation? Before the second generation, there actually is a story about her when she was young and a young missionary. There's a story I forgot to tell you, because that's a good story. That's at the time when she went into a village and met Pujari. Pujari was a very, very serious Swami, a priest who was a very strong one. And he had many people that went to his big temple. His temple there, where he could have people go in there and worship, and they would sing, chant, and they would actually take the rose petals or many kinds of fragrances, and they would have them up there and throw it to the gods, He did that every day, and many, many people came. But he was very nervous because he found out that there were these Christians here, these missionaries. So he went to spread rumors about these missionaries. Don't trust them. We have our gods. We have indeed so many gods. We have the snake gods. We have the elephant gods. We have the rat gods. We have so many gods. And when we pray to the snake gods, they're good to us. So, people, don't listen to these missionaries. Our gods are better than their gods. But one day, in the village of Pujari, influenza came, flu came, and many people got really sick. They would stumble around, and they would get really sick. And many people just could not walk. And then one by one, they had to go to bed. Or one by one, they died. And nobody dared to go out because they were afraid that the disease would spread, it would be contagious, and they would get it. So every family kept to themselves. Even Pujari was really scared, didn't dare go out. But the Christians, they went, because they knew God's command was to give a bit of water to those that needed it. So they went to different homes, especially Mrs. Brand went there. Granny Brand went to feed the little children and made the little children a little better. And some of them did not die, but many people died in that time. And finally, even Pujari himself got weaker and weaker, and his wife died. And as he lay in bed there, he was thinking, my wife's dead, I'm going to die. Who's going to look after my children? I don't really trust these people in this village. I don't trust them, actually. And by gods, I don't know, maybe they left me. I don't know. What about those Christians? They talk about love. They talk about the God of love. Call the Christians. So Mrs. Granny Brand came over. At the time she wasn't Granny, she was just Mrs. Brand. Evelyn Brand came to visit Pujari. And Pujari said, your God is a good God. Please take care of my baby. And yes, I know, I have to sign papers. I will. Here's the papers. I'll sign them. I'll sign them, and you can have them safely. And yes, I know. You could be accused of stealing my baby. So what I'm going to do is this. My son, he will take the baby, and he will walk to your home so that everybody knows that we did this voluntarily. You did not steal our baby. Yes, please look after my baby. And maybe my son too, if he needs to be looked after. Go, son. And so his son, step by step, walked over to where the missionaries were. And he was crying because he was so sad and he wasn't sure what was going to happen. You know, these missionaries, he had heard some bad stories about them. But still God, his father wanted him to do that. So he handed over the child to the missionaries. And sure enough, the missionaries loved the child, gave her a name called Ruth. And finally, when Pujari died, even the brother came and lived with him, or adopters, and named him Aaron and Ruth. So they had 2 new children for that. So, what about the second generation? Paul Brand, and now married to Margaret Brand. Second generation, they had been working in India all these years with their hands and their fingers serving God. 10 fingers for God, indeed. But there were so many problems on the streets. Homeless people on the streets. There were lots of people with handicaps and disablements. Some people had 1 foot, 1 leg missing. Paul was an orthopedic surgeon. So he knew, I could find things to help these people. I need your help. And those street kids, they're sad, but they're so happy too. They're street kids, and they learn to live with so little. They play with rubbish, but they have joy in their hearts too. Oh, so sad to see these kids. What do I do with them? He had a little workshop, and he would encourage people to go there to work in the workshop, to help out. Because all these leprosy patients, they needed all kinds of things too. Plus, they can make a little bit of money, maybe doing toys, or maybe license plates or things like that. But shoes were a big thing. Remember, shoes are very important for leprosy patients. If you're not careful and you get something like a rock inside, you could actually ruin your whole foot. You could lose your foot just from a rock inside because you don't know that it's happening. Or, if some of this is not very even, there will scratch, get an infection, get an abscess, and you lose this foot too. So it's extremely important to fit all these beautifully. So you have people sewing the leather, making the leather well, making it very pliable, very soft so that it wouldn't hurt the legs at all. So all this was part of the plan. But one day, what happened? Was it in one of the places that he had some plastic bumped into some fire. And suddenly there was a flame. Fire started going on, and the flame started shooting up. And time's up. We're going to do tomorrow, right? No! Tomorrow? Tomorrow's no tomorrow? Huh? No one tomorrow? Oh, tonight. Nothing tonight? Oh, next year then, next year. Okay, I guess we're going to continue now. Shall we continue until Monday? So the fire kept going and going and going. And the fire got fiercer and fiercer, and the flames shot up. Even the workshop totally got on fire. And so, the workshop, all these things in the workshop. We better go in and save the things. And so Paul's grand said to them, be careful, your fingers. Don't use your fingers. Because your fingers would get burnt and you wouldn't even know that. And you would lose your fingers. And so all the kids and all the adults, they went and they had buckets and buckets of water, had these bucket brigades. And they kept pouring water. And then finally, the fire seemed to have died down. Seemingly, many things were protected. And Paul said, show me your fingers. Show me all your fingers first. And he looked at all the fingers. And to his great surprise, they were all okay. All the fingers were okay. He said, great job. Wow, saved your fingers. That's good. What about the third generation? First, there were 2 kids that went on the boat to Bombay and then to Vellore. Now there are 4, and now there are 6 kids. 6 kids they were raising in India. Not easy, right? I don't know how many of you have 6 kids in your family, but there's 6 kids in the family. And number 5, Tricia, she was a doll. And she loved animals. She loved especially the neighbor's pet leopard. As a cub, it was great fun to play with the leopard. But one day, very quickly, it grew. So at 9 months, the leopard was like a big leopard. And so one day, Paul and his daughter, Tricia, went to see the neighbor. As they walked to the neighbor's place, they saw Gigi, the leopard, now 9 months old. So Paul petted Gigi, and nothing seemed to happen. And when Paul turned around, he realized that Gigi had a different intention. Gigi suddenly snapped around, saw Tricia in the distance, and with 2 bounds, he dragged over at her and had her jaws right at the neck. And oh, time's up now. This really time's up. Next year, Don. Next year? Okay, next year? No? I guess you better continue, huh? So the jaws were right on the neck. You could see that the pressure was coming, and it was biting right into the neck. And Paul, in a panic, he said, a leopard on my baby, my child, Tricia! So he went up to her, and he grabbed a hold of the leopard and tried to yank the leopard away. But that made it worse, because the leopard got really upset, and so it went tighter. So it's like a no-win situation. And Paul was praying what to do about it. And the old man jumped out. Wait. Don't do that. This only way to stop a leopard is to bop it on the nose. Big bop in the nose. Oops. It seemed to stop, but didn't work. So one more. Fingers in the cheek. And the leopard relaxed. So next time you're in the jungles and you have a leopard after you, be sure to have a bop in the nose and then fingers. Right? Okay, you learn that here. Finger in time solves a lot of things. The fingers that God gave to us, all 10 fingers, they're so beautiful, they're so wonderful. God gave us 10 fingers. The end.